My name is Amélie. I work at CERIC, and today I'm going to guide you through how to submit a strong proposal for Cannexus 2026. And I'm happy to take this time with you today. I am also with Rachel that is in the chat, and with Hiba, who is our conference planning coordinator as well. I see people are coming. Okay, and then just a few housekeeping notes. So I'm going through the presentation, but you will have the slides. You will also have the recording. So feel free to revisit it if you need, and also to share it with your peers. Another session is hosted in French tomorrow, also, if you want to share that. And then we're going to address any question you have at the end of this session. So the presentation should be around 35 minutes-ish. And then we're going to respond to any question you have with Hiba. Maybe I will start. So today we're going to cover multiple topics. The first one is what is Cannexus, who is CERIC, why present at Cannexus. We're going to spend a little bit of time about session formats because we have new formats for this year. And then we're going to cover how to craft a strong proposal. And I guess that's why you're here today. We're going to touch base on inclusion and accessibility, and then cover some tips for you to feel comfortable in the submission, but also in your presentation. And then, like I said, Q&A session. Oops, okay, I have to use that. So what is Cannexus? I don't know, I guess if you're here, you have a little bit of sense of what it is, but if not, Cannexus is the biggest bilingual conference on career development. It's been 20 years, like it's going to be 20 years next year, actually. It's in person in Ottawa and also virtually. So we cover everything across Canada, but also we have an impact internationally. We have 100 sessions featuring Canada and international speakers, maybe one of you today. We are backed up with 40 supportive organizations. Everything I'm also saying today is available on Cannexus website. And like I mentioned, Cannexus 2026 is going to be our 20 years birthday, sorry, which means 20 years of impact. And we thought it would be a good way for all together celebrate career development and reflect on 2 decades of career development and the future of work. That's why also we invite you today to share a bold and timely session aligned with this year's theme, which is Evolving Work, Expanding Impact. More info about that on our website. And then we also want to experiment with new formats. I'm going to cover that later, but that's an opportunity for you to prepare something different and to deliver something different. As a reminder, the conference is going to happen in January 26 to 28. Like I said, virtually, but also in person at the Rogers Centers in Ottawa. And then a quick word about CERIC, because not everyone knows that CERIC is behind Cannexus. CERIC is a national charitable organization promoting research, learning, advocacy in career development. We support practitioners, educators, researchers, employers, and policymakers through 2 strategic mandates, promoting career development as a priority for the public good, and building career development knowledge, mindset, and competencies. This is our compass, and I hope it will be yours as well when you're going to work on your proposal and on your presentation. One thing that is important to mention also is CERIC is funded by a private foundation governed by a volunteer board, and it impacts also the way we create Cannexus. Among all of the things CERIC does, we have Cannexus, but we also have career rise and orientation, sorry, because it's French, that are career development news and views about career development. You have the website. You also have a newsletter that is free to register. You also have the Canadian Journal of Career Development that is about academic research and best practices in Canada, but not only. That is also free to consult. And then you have all of the different initiatives and learning programs. I invite you to look at the website, sorry, and at the small video I posted here. That is a good introduction to CERIC, but also that is come back to 20 years of CERIC. And then today we wanted to share with you why submit a proposal, how to do it, and what we expect from you. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut my mic. Allergies are here and it's not the easiest. So why submit a proposal? The first thing we see, obviously, is for you to share your innovative work and insights, especially because you have so many different activities, so many different sectors, so many different inputs that need to be shared across Canada and in the world. The goal is to influence the field and contribute to collective progress. Like I said, one of our priority is to work for the public good, and you contribute to that doing your presentation at Cannexus. Obviously, you can expand your network and elevate your profile by doing that. And then I mentioned already the contribution to the well-being of people across Canada. Who we are looking for is a very interesting question that we have each year. So we invite proposals from career development practitioners, researchers and educators, community leaders and change makers. We want to feel welcome to submit a proposal, whether you presented already multiple times or submitted but didn't go through, or as a first timer. One thing we also encourage you to do is to check the past program of Cannexus. They are available on our website as well, like Cannexus website, and it gives you a sense of what we can create together, especially if you have specificities about your work, about a specific community. So please check that because it can help you. Great proposals often come from people who are grounded in real-world practice. We need the theory, but we also need the theory applied to like concrete knowledge. We look for people who are open-minded, curious, and eager to share or co-create. Sometimes you could also like imagine a different type of presentation, and we can maybe act as a connector for you to find the right person for your panel, for example. We look for thoughtful communicators who value clarity and connection. I will come back to that regarding the accessibility piece. And then rooted in purpose, because we know that you have so many things to share. And it's important for us to understand why your topic matters. Something to consider also is you don't need to be a big voice on a stage. We want you to really share your experience and to ensure people can learn from it. Sorry. Then, who are Cannexus participants? Well, the past few years, we are around almost 2,000 people, like in general. So last year, roughly 1,000 in person, 1,000 virtually. One thing also we should share with you is, if you're not familiar with Cannexus, even if you are like some of our presenters only present in person and some only present in virtually, but some of the sessions are going to be hybrid. So you may have, like attendees may have access to your presentation in different ways. In terms of participants per se, we try to categorize them in 3 big categories: post-secondary institutions, community agencies, private practices, schools, governments, and corporations. Everyone from like close to far away, for whatever that means to be in the career development sector. And again, look at the programs from past years. It's gonna give you a lot of insight of what type of people are attending. Now, today's session was mostly about that, to better understand the session format and also how to submit a strong proposal through a bunch of tips we're gonna share later. It's important, same thing, to understand what is like good for you. We know it's not always easy to present either in person or virtually. We have different options. I'm going to try to be as sharp as possible, but Hiba maybe later will add some comments. So we have the main stage sessions and main stage, Spark, and around the world sessions. You can submit a proposal in mind, like having in mind this type of sessions. However, you are going to be selected. You don't apply for them, rather than other type of sessions, like let's say Simulive, where you say in the form, I want to do this type of presentation. Main stage is basically the main stage in Ottawa. So it's going to be an in-person presentation that is live streamed on the virtual platform, and later on is going to be accessible on the virtual platform for everyone, also like the in-person attendees. You have one main stage session per block, which means we have 8 sessions in total. So that's one thing. Then you have the Spark sessions that are very famous because it's kind of a mini TED Talk. If I had to summarize it, I would say think differently. It's really a high different level of presentation with something that is really change, like innovation and change making type of thing. Then we have a new one that is carousels. So it's 2 sessions of 25 minutes with a roundtable where you can have up to 15 participants. It's less formal than typical presentation, but it's really good to have more connection through people and communities, and maybe to create something from that. Then you have the Around the World session with international speakers that will address global topics. So same thing, if you know someone in the global community that could be interested to do that, please let them know. Then you have the live concurrent sessions, which are like more typical presentations with 45 minutes of presentation and 15 minutes of Q&A sessions. You can imagine a panel, you can imagine a workshop, you can imagine everything you want, as long as the thing stays like engaging. And then you have the sector leader session that is also new. So this one, the audience is more like high level with executive directors, senior managers. We cover topics about organizational, sectoral, and economic changes. And the goal through this type of session is to reunite like decision makers and to make a change for communities. And then the last one is Simulive sessions. So technically it's pre-recorded sessions where the presenter is going to be, or them going to be in the chat during the release time to be able to talk with people who will have seen the recorded session. Something also to note that every presenter is going to either virtually or in person attend the conference. So for the ones who are going to choose the Simulive sessions, it's not like, oh my God, I will have to only connect for 15 minutes. You will have the entire conference. And then you will be able to share everything with your peers. Then how to craft a strong proposal then? So we didn't want to make you like afraid of submitting, but the reason why also we do this session today is because we receive more than 250 proposals each year. And we wanted to share with you how you are like making it standing out. And I'm going to share like 8 tips, and I will invite you to revisit this PowerPoint and this presentation eventually when you create your proposal, because that's how, in terms of process, we are going to look at your proposal and have like make a decision. So the first one would be about aligning with the learning theme. So same thing, we are going to share a link with you later on the presentation, and it's also accessible on our Cannexus website, obviously, about the learning themes we have. I'm going to share that a little bit later on. But technically, the goal of that is to reference the theme throughout your proposal, either on the title or I don't know, but to find a way for us to understand the connection between the proposal and the learning theme we define. You have extensive description of what is each learning theme covers. Another thing is to keep it clear and concise. As a speaker myself and a marketing person, I know that we sometimes use some specific language and vocabulary that is not well known by everyone. So that's very important to keep that in mind when you write it, to ensure everyone is gonna understand it. Structure with intention your submission, but also your presentation. So the goal is to have a very simple, concise flow with the context, the core content, key takeaways for reviewers to be able to see your session as it will unfold, and then we know if it's a fit or not. And then we also ask you to plan for engagement and accessibility. It's not like a transactional knowledge transfer, rather than having sometimes conversations. I'm not only talking about panels, but you know, like how you're gonna make sure your audience is gonna stay engaged. It could be through visuals, it could be through breakout rooms if you are in virtual presentation mode. It could be sort of a workshop when people work on something and then have a document at the end of it. Whatever you think about, everything is possible, and you invite you to consider that instead of like having a very traditional presentation. One question to ask regarding that is, how will participants feel included and activated? Another one is about audience again. It's making the audience the center of your presentation, because the way we think about it is like how we can serve better the career practitioners and every professional that is going to attend Cannexus. One thing we recommend, and that's the little marketing piece of this presentation, I would say, is to use this type of terms in your presentation submission. Participants will leave with, and then you list 3 benefits. Or this session will help you to support youth and disabled people. And then everyone, including reviewers, can better understand where you are heading to with your presentation and what people are going to learn from it. It's an opportunity to showcase your voice. And one other tip we wanted to share with you is to let your personality out and let your passion show through your writing. The goal is to be human, not too much academic. I know it's not always so easy, but that's how people connect with you, whether it's virtually or in person. So that's also something to consider. And also something, how your writing is done is gonna influence us in our decision. And then the almost last one is about back it up and break new ground. So the goal is to really have relevance, urgency, or innovation in mind when you submit your proposal. and when you choose your learning theme, just because people are gonna really have a better activation with you and your presentation, and then apply on their daily work if you share lived experience, data, fresh model, anything that could really make it more relevant for them, I would say. And then finally, one of the tips we can share with you is to keep it adaptable. We have so many sessions formats. We have so many opportunities among the 100 of proposal we're gonna select. It's very important for you to stay adaptable, because we may ask you, hey, is it possible to do it in virtual, or is it possible to, instead of this format, to do this format, because we thought it could be more engaging for the audience. And then about the learning themes. So I mentioned it earlier, we have 29 of them. You have a wonderful description for everything, but technically, all of them are like in these categories that you will already say to yourself, okay, I'm working in the EDI, on the EDI topics is going to be this one, and then I can choose. You can choose multiple topics also in the form. And I believe you can also add some comments if you need to clarify things, because we know it's not always easy to select a specific theme only. So you can always do that. Yeah, it works. Another point we wanted to make today is about the diversity of voices. If you know Cedric, you know we have at heart to be intentional about that. Cannexus is the same. It has to reflect a range of sectors, lived experiences, and communities. We also encourage proposals from underrepresented voices and regions. And I will say it because you hear me with my French accent with Francophone language. And we are very mindful about equity-focused questions. So it's very important for us that every proposal has that in mind, so then we can collectively learn. And then I mentioned it very quickly regarding the accessibility. So we offer a support for you to be able to deliver your presentation the best way possible if you need specific access, both for virtual and in person. We can arrange accommodations. Radio Center is accessible, not fully, unfortunately, but Hiba can expand on that if needed. But we want to ensure it's not a barrier for you or for your peers to submit your proposal. It's also something to consider as a presenter, because you may not be aware that someone is deaf in the room, or someone has like a language barrier. Not everyone speaks English or French. So, you know, some things to consider. Something also to consider, especially if you think about the bilingual lens, is we have the simultaneous interpretation, l'interprétation simultanée en français. That could help also. So we are very keen to find some bilingual bridges wherever possible, and also to ensure like every attendee at Cannexus is having the best experience. And then again, don't hesitate to share what you need to succeed. We know, like I mentioned it, I am a speaker. I have myself some difficulties to see some words and to hear some sounds, or to have like a mic, like, you know, when you have to have it all the time with you. Just say it and then we can arrange. Then, too fast. A little word about the behind the scenes, how we select your proposal. So we review your proposals with the CERIC staff and career development peers volunteering on committees. And that's why we said earlier, like, it's very important for you to ensure you don't use specific jargon or vocabulary that we may not understand. We listed three top criteria that can help you to deliver best proposal and presentation. The first one will be about relevance and clarity. Best example, very easy, AI, for example, and how it could impact the career development professionals. Second one is going to be the diversity of voice. It's very important, like we mentioned, to have a good representation of what is Canada and also what is the people of Canada. And the third point would be the format, fit, and engagement potential. I'm not gonna cover that again, but anything to say that the goal is to aim for balance across sectors, learning themes, and identities. Among all of the information I shared with you, so the learning themes and the different type of sectors. And then you have a couple of tips from past presenters, whether they were new or very like a long-time speaker. First one was about not to try cover too much, one powerful idea clearly delivered rather than having multiple ideas at the same time or concepts. Second one was about a long-time Cannexus speaker about the fact that people don't really remember perfect slides. They will more remember about how you made them feel seen, how you understood them, and how you can help them. And the third one was about to submit a proposal, whether you feel you are like in the conference level or not. We know it's not always easy to see ourselves as a professional speaker in front, especially if you do it in person. It could be like a very intimidating, but that's also why we wanted to have this session with you today. And again, reinforce the idea about diverse voices, because we need to have a change in that matter. Same thing, if anything, trust your perspective. What at the end of the day matters the most is someone in the audience will need what you have to share. So please share it. And then that's the slide I was talking about with the key links. So in that one, you have Cannexus website, obviously. You have a page dedicated to the call for presenters information. In that page, you will have a bunch of information, but I also, to simplify your own work, put other type of links like in the slide. You have the guidelines and terms. That is very crucial for you to learn before you submit and before you even write your proposal, to ensure everything we require from you and anything you will require maybe to write this proposal. You have the learning themes. You also have this glossary, because we know we have some jargon ourselves with the name of the sessions, for example, or other things. So that's a good way to have that handy. And then obviously you have the proposal form. The submission deadline is Monday, June the 2nd. So you have a little bit less than a month to be able to submit your proposal. And I think I covered everything. So now we're gonna have this Q&A session. I'm trying to open the chat, yes. And I believe, oh wow, someone from the US, I love it. I believe you can open your camera and your mic if you have a question.
Amelie, I'm just going to jump in to answer one of the questions. Kate, so for hybrid sessions, so it depends. Let's say you're doing a virtual session. You can be in person and the other person can be virtual. The only thing that we would ask is, if let's say you're attending in person, but you're presenting a virtual session, is that you have space to present your virtual session from, just because we don't have a dedicated room at the Rogers Center. So hopefully that answers your question. I know there was another one I think that I missed from Inna. Sorry if I say that wrong. So for the reviewer process, we do give them a rubric based on what we're looking for in terms of content. So they'll assess based on the title, the description, the learning theme. Does that fit? Like, does the content fit the learning theme? And then essentially once they review it, we'll get that back. And then the manager will take a look at those, see if the review makes sense or not. And then we'll kind of take a look at where we fit things based on how many slots we have for in-person, virtual, the different sessions that Amelie mentioned. And then we'll kind of take a look and see to decide on final decisions, essentially. And yeah, I think that's it in terms of questions that
Just to bounce on some comment I've seen regarding the process review. So we decided to go to change our process a couple of years ago, and now we use like a committee, like we were using that already, but the way we redefine it was about to ensure we don't have this bias you are mentioning, and thank you for asking that question. It's at the image of CEREX committee. We have so many different backgrounds, and each year it changes. We also have our own, and it's not like a score in the sense of like, oh, we look for that amount of things or whatever. It's more about like, again, the learning experience. I didn't spend a lot of time on introducing CEREX because that's not the topic of today, but it's very important to understand that it's part of our big programmation with everything we do. So the goal is to be impartial as much as possible. That's why also we invite diverse voices. And this is also applied in our committee selection. And it's the same time of process we have for our funding projects, for example, or for our publications. I see some questions about like the hybrid sessions, in-person sessions. So, and I think Heba can correct me if I'm wrong, but for hybrid sessions, you can have 2 or 3 presenters. It doesn't matter. I am myself sometimes monitoring, like in the past years, virtual sessions or hybrid sessions. It doesn't matter the number, like it doesn't matter. Don't come with 10 presenters, it's not gonna work out. I think we are limited to 3 or 4. But the thing is, as long as you are square with your presentation and like who speaks when and things like this, everything is possible. We can also imagine breakout room session, for example. We can imagine, even, like we had a panel conversation in virtual side. Everything is doable, and in person is the same. Like you can come with multiple presenters. One thing that is very key to understand, though, in the form process, from a very technical aspect of things, is you have one main speaker that will lead in the sense of we're going to communicate only with this person. And this person is going to be in charge to redistribute the communication. So let's say you have 3 co-presenters. One of them is going to be the main presenter, communicate with CEREX everything we need. And then if something is like, let's say one of the co-presenters is replaced by someone else, this person in charge will directly message Hiba here to say, hey, we have a change and things like this. Also about that, we allow changes until the beginning of January. We don't have a precise date because it depends on our own timeline each year. But technically consider that after the first week of January, it's going to be tough to change the presenters. So that we can totally understand like months pass and then things are changing. So it's possible. And then Hiba also will be the main, like, Hiba will be the main contact. It's one of my slides at the end. Hiba will be the main contact for everything. And then So for the presentation in general are about 1 hour. And that's why we mentioned the typical presentation, 45 minutes presentation, and then like 15 minutes of Q&A. And then
Emily, I'll just jump in because someone asked about themes. So each submission can only have one theme, but let's say you would like to present on 2 or 3 different themes. If you do, what I would recommend is submit the proposal. So let's say you want to submit for 3 different themes. Submit all those proposals because you know, maybe 2 of them will get accepted, so you'll be able to present on like different days during the conference, but typically when you go into the application form, you'll see that you can only pick one learning theme and then kind of expanding on that. And the nice thing about the application like proposal system that we're using this year is there is no time limit. So let's say you started the submission today, but you're missing, let's say, the bio of your other speaker. You can save that as a draft and then kind of come in, you know, the day after or whatever to continue that and then submit it. So that is an option too, to kind of, if you want to take a look at how things are set up, and if that makes you more comfortable, because we do ask specific things. So like I know I had questions about format. So you are able to tell us if you prefer, let's say, virtual or in person, or you're open to both. When you're picking your presentation style. So let's say you prefer to do a panel, you can submit that. If there's something that you want to present that we don't necessarily have in terms of format, there is another section that will tell you, you know, our format, and then you can specify. So there's different options where you can specify what type of presentation you'd like to do on the portal itself. Back to you, Emily.
Sure. I don't think we have other questions.
I mean, there is one that's asking, how long are the presentations in general?
Oh yeah, I quickly mentioned that. So usually we aim to have 1 hour presentations, or even a little bit less, to ensure that we have some buffer for people. So to give you a sense, like if you are in the in-person conference, you may have rooms, like as an attendee, you may have rooms that are like one floor and the other. So it's always nice to have a couple of minutes to be able to move. And even virtually, we try, we ask presenters to be very conscious about that, because it's a full day in front of your computer and you still need to have water to go to the bathroom and stuff. So we aim to have like sessions about 45 minutes, knowing that it could be like a little bit more. But that's also something that is very important for us, is like basic rules of presenting, not more than an hour, being mindful about reading and accessibility on your presentation, for example, this type of things. I see a question about the limit of co-presenters. So the limit is 4. Whatever the type of presentation you have, like you select. And also on that, because Hiba already gave a lot of details, but if you don't know, or if you don't want to choose, it's also something that is possible. I don't think Hiba is there forced to choose, like they have to tick the box necessarily. They can just submit a proposal, and then depending on the format we can feel from it, we can say, hey, we think it's going to be more like better for this or that. I would say something that is very key though for everyone, either for you or us, is to specify if you are open to do it virtually, in person, or both.
We do recommend if like having the co-speakers entered into the system if you already have that information. But if, let's say, you submitted, we went through the approval process, you got approved, and then you wanted to add someone on, we can add someone on later, like another speaker. And like Emily said, essentially, most of my communication will be with the lead speaker, and then it's their responsibility to communicate with the co-speakers in terms of deadlines, registrations, all of that stuff. And then to answer Martin's questions, when do we try to have all the presenters selected? So the deadline for submissions is June 2nd, which is a Monday. Once that's done, that gets sent to reviewers, and then typically in July, we're kind of trying to finalize that. And then the aim is in August to send out the approval emails and whatnot. So essentially, the hope is that by September, we would have the schedule posted on our website, but that's dependent on whether speakers get back to us to confirm that they still would like to go ahead with presenting or not.
And one thing also to add on that is you may be put on wait list because, as I said, like we receive a lot of proposals, but we always have people who finally can do it for whatever reasons. So in the coming months after, like Iba said, August, you should have a confirmation or not. Then September, we aim to publish the program. And then the next following months, you may be contacted if you are part of the waiting list. And know also that if you're not selected for Cannexus this year, you could be also like you could resubmit the year after. But also, if we think your presentation, learning opportunity is like we have to do it, but then we can't fit it in Cannexus for whatever reason, you may be contacted by my colleague for another type of learning, because something we do at CEREC is also courses and webinar series. Maybe a lot of you know us by that way. So don't refrain yourself to submit your proposal saying, oh my God, they only take 1/3 of this, I'm not gonna go through. Just submit and then we can see. Yeah, I go for it, Eva.
So Natalia is asking if a person didn't present at a conference previously. Typically, yeah, if you have a recording of some sort or you presented at something else, maybe not a conference, but you have the link, there's an option in the proposal form where you'll be able to enter that into the application.
Okay, does anyone have any other question before we wrap up the session?
Actually, I'll add one thing because I don't think we mentioned it. For the virtual sessions, so we do them through a system called Feedloop. I'm not sure if everyone has used it, but essentially we plug that in, and then that way anyone attending from home will be able to watch all the sessions. So whether it's the let's say the main stage sessions that are happening in person, that'll get live streamed on the virtual side. And then for the in-person attendees and the in-person speakers, they'll all have an app with the different sessions slotted, so they kind of build their schedule based on that.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for attending this session. We hope it was helpful. And then, yes, you will receive the presentation, the recording. You will be able to go through that again to share it with your peers. And I hope it will motivate you to submit your proposal. And we'll see you soon.